Hi guys, it's Emily from Novell Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my December wrap-up part 1 and it's going amazing. I am having the best reading month of the year and I've still got like at least 2 or 3 books that I know could potentially go up there with favourites. I've still got The Women to Read by Kristin Hannah. I've still got the Heidi Swain book to read. I've got another, I've got the next Rick Riordan book which I'm starting today. I'm rereading Little Women, starting that today. I'm reading an Agatha Christie, which could be exciting. I've got so much good books on, and I picked like great books to end the year on as well. I just decided that rather than focusing on which books are like the last books on my which books are like the oldest books on my TBR, which books do I need to read, I'm just mood reading a lot more, and I'm picking books that I'm really excited about. Whether I bought them this year, whether I bought them last month, I don't care. I've got 7 books to add to the TBR, and I have got a possibility that if I get time I'm going to tell you I'm going to read it anyway, because yes, that means adding 8, but they're all books I'm excited about, so I just think I feel guilty if I don't. But the ones I add to the TBR are piles of possibilities. It's a pile of possibilities, because if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to read it. I'm not beating myself up. This time of year is insane. I'm filming this on the 14th, which is just under halfway through the month because I'm working tomorrow. I've got a lot going on. I'm working, wrapping presents. I'm not having as much time to read. That's why I've saved a couple of the bigger books for the second half, because after Christmas, that week between Christmas and New Year is actually my final chill time. So I'm going to take it easy on myself. It's been insane. Like I said, wrapping presents, Christmas dues, stuff with the kids. I've got so much on at the moment that I am literally rushed off my feet, and I'm having a flare. So it's all pretty much wiping my socks off. I do want to say thank you to everyone for the support about the plans for 2025, and your support has just been incredible. Like, I'm so blessed with you guys. We couldn't have got through this hard 2024 without you all, so thank you so much. But like I said, I've got a million things to do. I have only had 2 3 stars. I haven't had a DNF yet. I've got 3 4 stars, 2 4.5 stars, and I've had 7 5 stars already. I am so goddamn excited. It's unbelievable. And like I said, I've got 7 books that I'm adding, so just roll it on. I think deciding after watching my plans for 2025, one of the things I might start doing in December, going forward in February, and this was one of Ange from Ange's Book Chatter's idea, is that I am thinking that I might do weekly wrap-ups. So rather than having wrap-up part 1, wrap-up part 2, I'm going to do weekly wrap-ups and chat. And I'll film them on a Thursday and get them on. And I know it does mean Thursday's being a bit of a busier video, but it will take the pressure off on my other days during the week. So I will have every Friday, you will start in February. I've decided you will start getting the weekly catch-ups. Don't know what to call them. Ideas, please send me your ideas. But I think actually listening to what Anne said, so I won't do the gratitude journals anymore. I'm sorry, guys. But what I will do is I will be including the gratitude journals in my weekly wrap-up and chats. So my weekly wrap-up and chats will be talking about the books I've read that week and the things I'm grateful for. So you'll get a weekly gratitude, which will go in the weekly chat. I think that's going to work out fine. I will still, on the last one of the month, the last one, I will still give my stats for the month. So you'll get the weekly chat, what I read, and then you'll get the whole stats check-in. Or I might just do an extra stats test check-in, I don't know. But I might do it that way, because I know a lot of people still like my stats, and I still like doing them. But that's just going to mean that I'll have 4 videos a week, which I can then do my book haul. I still do my book haul and my TBR, but any extras I can then put in as what I want. And you might end up getting 3 videos a week, because you never know, I might end up having an extra idea for a smaller video idea that I might want to put on the extra day. But it's just going to take the pressure off myself, because the wrap-ups part 1 and 2, where I have like I said, I've got 14 books to talk about now, it takes longer to film, it takes longer to do, and it's putting the pressure on me, and I'm taking pressure off me next year. But it won't be till February, because January is the big ones of all the favourite books of the year and the things I want to do and all that lot. So I'm not going to, and my yearly chat sort of stats. So anyway, that's it. That's what I've said, what I've needed to say. Let's show you the books. So my first 3-star is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. Now, I read the first book, absolutely loved it, thought it was 5 stars, it was incredible. The second one, The Good Girl, Bad Blood, was like 4 stars, and this was only 3. It's flipping chunky. I think a long time ago, Kat from, wasn't Bruce and Ruth, my best friend Kat, it was the other Kat, and she said about Cats and Camera, and she said she read the series and she loved the first one and then didn't love the next 2. So yes, I'm with her on that. This was just too big, too much happened. It was just not as good. So I'm now going to unhaul the whole series, which is 2 red books are going off my shelf. Yay! Just not for me. It really is very YA, very like crimey. Just, I don't know. It's not my kind of mystery anymore. So bye bye. Then this was a lovely 3-star, and it was a lovely non-fiction book, and this is The King and the Christmas Tree by A.M. Wilson. Charlie gave me this for Christmas, after Christmas last year. She was unhauling her books. She's doing another unhaul next year. I'm going to be nabbing more books. This was about the set in the war in the Second World War, about when the German U-boats reached Oslo, and then it seemed Norway would soon fall into the Nazi regime. So the king at the time, King Haakon VII, refused to surrender, making perilous escape from the frozen Arctic Circle to safe haven in Britain. And he became a beacon of hope for his people. He moved to Britain. Britain kept him safe. And then they offered the king a Christmas tree. And now Norway still gives the UK Christmas trees from them, because in thank you for what we did, how the UK saved them in the Second World War. So quite a nice book, very easy to read, very flow through. Obviously, it's heartbreaking what happened in the war, but that was done really well. It's still an awful. Like I said, already it's 4 stars. And this is where I go. Mum's going to be reading this. My stack from Mum after this video has just gone rocketed. She's sorted. She doesn't need a library. She's got an Emily. So the first one was my TBR jar choice, and that was The Cozy Cat Society. Mum's going to read this, and I'll probably send it to Kat from Bros and Reviews, because Kat would love this. It's about, you've got 5 strangers, and they meet at a cat sanctuary after each of them facing difficulties in their lives. They're all going through different problems. Sasha, the person that runs it, is having a heartbreak of her past, and she's trying to forge a new life. And then you've got Paul, who worked hard to break free from a controlling relationship. You've got very different characters in this. I'm not going to go into each of them. But it wasn't just the characters that I loved. It was the cat sanctuary. It's made me think of, obviously, when, God forsake, we lose Sweep, we are going to want another cat. And I would love to save cats. I think cats are just the best. And going forward, you see this, and you see how the cats have helped them. And the love you get from a cat is just unbelievable. And these characters that all interlink in the society, in that cat rescue place, and I just think it's a lovely thing. But it is hard. There are some scenes in this that are hard, about what people do when they don't want cats, and how easily people would just give up on them. So it is a bit emotional on that front, but it's a very good book. So that's a Mum book. The next one's a Mum book, because it's not really I don't give my mum saucy stuff. And this is Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop. This is the sequel to the Christmas Bookshop, which I did actually love more than this one, which surprised me. And this is the sequel, and when Carmen's festive cheer is failing, and the community around her will save the day. And this is good, but maybe it's because, maybe I didn't enjoy it as much because I read the Christmas Bookshop a long time ago. And there's less about the actual bookshop side of it, more about the lead character Carmen and the gorgeous Edinburgh bookshop. But I did, and it was because it's being used as a film set, it wasn't as much about the books, which is what I love. But it was good. It was about the community, it's about her friendships, and it was a good book, but it just wasn't quite as amazing. It's very good. I'm going to keep it, and Mum will read it, but I think I need to read the 2 together to know this. And then the other one that was 4 stars is a book that I've given back to the library, and that was The Royal Librarian by Daisy Wood. It was a good book. It was set, but again, it wasn't as much about the actual library bit or at the royal family. It was about the protagonist, and sort of just other sort of stuff. And I can't even remember it massively, which is really bad. It was a good book, but I don't think it was quite as good as Daisy Wood's first book, which was The Paris Bookshop, because again, there wasn't as much about books, and there wasn't as much about the royal family, but there was a heartwarming story, and about families, and about families that got torn apart in the Second World War. that part I found emotional, the stuff and the stuff. And some of the stuff that happened in the Nazi regime was very hard, and that was a lot of part of it, so you need to be aware of that. But it was a good bit. Just 4 stars. Again, 4 stars to me is very good. Me and Charlie were having this debate. Like, for me, I put it like a 3-star because of a book I didn't enjoy. She was like, what the hell? Like, 3 stars should be. So I do need to, going forward, start being a bit stricter, that if I don't enjoy a book, not give it 3 stars. Like, possibly Good Girl, but that As Good as Dead possibly shouldn't have been 3 stars. Possibly it should have been like 2 or 2.5. It was good, but like I said, was it amazing? I need to be a bit more thinking about it. But now to my 4.5 stars. I've got 2. Although I think on Storygraph I put one of them as 4. So again, that was a bit of a... The first one is The Christmas Bookshop by Sarah Morgan. I'm going to let my mum read this because she will blow me and love it. And it was a book that was sent to me by Kat from Brews and Reviews last year. Why do I keep saying it? Kat is going to be linked a million times in it. I know she's busy. And this is Sarah Morgan's book from last year. And Kat got it for me for Christmas last year. And I loved it and I finally got to it. And I absolutely sodding loved it. It was 4.5 stars, but it was a good end of 4.5 stars. Like, it's because I've had so many 5 stars that they are the ones that probably very slightly edge it for me. Could this Christmas be the start of a new chapter? And you've got like 3 friends, Erica, Claudia and Anna. They reunite for their book club holiday and they're bonded by friendships, and the book club element of it is really sweet. And then you have the perfect Christmas escape, and it's set in the cosy Maple Sugar Inn, and Hattie specialises in making her guests' dreams come true. But she's a single mother. She lost her husband right at the start, like years before this, and that's revealed very early on. And when they all come together, the community aspects of being a single parent, each of the women having difficult life choices and difficult life decisions. It was a really, really good book about friendship, found families, books, and overcoming your own problems. And I just think it was a lovely, lovely book. I thoroughly recommend this to everyone. Then to my 4 stars, aka 4.5, I'm not entirely sure what I rated it. And that is A Gift from Bob by James Bowen. I read one of the Bob books. I can't even remember which Bob book I read. A Street Cat Named Bob. And there's loads of books like this. But it was again, it was brilliant, and it was Christmassy. It had a cat in it. I've got 2 books about cats. You know I love cats. Sweeps. Because I'm filming upstairs. She's not in on this one. But he looked back. James Bowen looks back on different Christmases and looks back on how Bob saved his life and about how different experiences and what it's like to live on the streets. And I couldn't imagine living on the streets, and I couldn't imagine all the hardships this guy goes through. But I know sometimes, like, money being tight, and I know that we've never had it that tight, but growing up and things like that, I remember when you have to make decisions with what you spend your money on, and it's really hard. And I've never even gone anywhere near that low, but still, even as a parent, not only major amounts, you think about what's important. And yeah, this really was important. It really got me thinking about, like, we do gas and electrics on the card meters because we've worked out, for us it works out better. And I know that sometimes you have to think, right, I'm trying to use my electricity carefully. And I think for us it makes us think about how we're using it. But that element, looking on this, I couldn't imagine, like, literally running out and not having anything. We've never been that bad, but it must be scary as. And the way Bob looks after him and keeps him warm, like Sweet's my little hot water bottle, but I really enjoyed this book. I think more of that. Oh, the rest are 5 stars. What's happened to me this month? It's just been incredible. I will tell you my favourite as I get to it, because I can't bother to give you a guessing game. But I'm like looking at it. There's one favourite that's definitely going on my favourites for the year so far. All of them have had an impact on me. Like, all of them are ones I possibly could mention in my favourite books of the year, because all of them have had a connection. That's what these 5 stars have done. They've either made me laugh or they've made me cry, and they've all had an impact, and all of them have really kind of they're this feeling that I needed. Now, when I'm feeling crappy, which obviously with the flare I'm having and with the exhaustion, I am feeling a bit crappy. It's manic, and I've had loads of happy stuff, but being a parent coming up to Christmas and being like coming up to Christmas is manic. But these are all great books. So the one I finished last night was A Christmas Wish at Woolworths by Elena Verst, and it is her penultimate book. She's got one more that is coming out next year. I wonder, it's 5 stars because I love the series. I love when it's set. I can't really give you too much detail because it's so later on in the series. But it's sort of still focusing a lot on the next generation. But you go back to the original Woolworths girls, so Betty Billington, and you've got all the friends of Maisie and Sarah and all of them. They're all in part of this. For me, the ending was a little bit rushed, but I'm wondering if that is because she was poorly when she wrote this. I don't know. But that was my only thing. The ending got a little bit rushed, a little bit more than I would have thought. But I couldn't give it any less than 4 stars because it did give me all those feelings. I was shouting with joy for some of our protagonists. I was scared for some of them, what was going on. And it really was lovely. And it was still heartwarming as well. And the hugs and the books. And it just was everything. I really, really loved it. But just the ending was a little bit... Mum's got to read that because Mum will love that. Now to the second in the series, which is The Merrily Ever After. Now the third has just come out recently, and I was telling you I was going to read the third in January. I was going to wait. I was going to read one a month. And then I got to the end of this one and I was like, actually, I really want to read the third one now. And yes, I only recently bought it, but sod it, I'm going to read it straight away. This was a reread because but it's about Mary, and you've got Emily in this, the lead character Emily in this. And she comes into it because she's waiting for New Year to begin so she can have a fresh start. She's always put her family first. There are triggers in this because her dad has got Alzheimer's or dementia. I think it's Alzheimer's. And there is triggers in that. So if you are aware of that, please be aware. And we go back to Mary, who was in the first book. And she's about to say, she has like a romance, which again is connected to first. So I'm not going to tell you too much. But she's on a new chapter of her life, and seeing these two women and their 2 different stories and how they interlink, and past secrets will come to light, and families and Christmas. And rereading it, I loved it just as much as the first book, and it was just really, really good. And for the ending to be like knowing that I needed the second one, I needed to read the third one again. It was just that kind of ending, so that tells you how much I loved it. Into another one that I loved, but again I rated it 4 out of 5 stars because it's a short story collection, which I don't normally do, but I read it in one day. It's the Bridgertons Happily Ever After, and it ties up, it's got a short story for all of the Bridgertons, and it has a little short story right at the end about the lovely Violet, their mother, and that's got a lovely short story right at the end. It's just an extra one about, like a novella about her, and this was brilliant. It was just what I needed. It was fun, it was frolicky. There are some of these I love more than others, like obviously I've read the whole series, but I can't wait for them to go on TV. So you got like The Duke and I, that epilogue, so that was for the first book. That was really good fun. That had some twists I didn't expect. The Viscount Who Loved Me, that wasn't as much. I didn't think I enjoyed that as much. And Offer from a Gentleman I really enjoyed. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, I loved. That was probably my favourite one. To Fulfill It With Love, I loved that one. No, To Fulfill It With Love, that was my favourite one actually. When He Was Wicked, loved that. In His Kiss, good. On the Way to the Wedding, brilliant. It was just all really, really good fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed all of these. They were brilliant ties up. It feels like it tied up the Bridgerton series well, and it just gave you extra like fun short stories, so I love that one. That's not a mummy one. The next one's not a mummy one because it's the Temple of Fortuna, and it's the 3rd one in the Elodie Harper series. How this isn't a favourite of the year, I don't know. I'm still debating whether this goes on the favourites of the year, because the second one I think had sandwich second book syndrome, and I didn't love it as much as the first. The third was incredible. I loved it as much as the first, and the first was my favourite. So this you may see this going on my favourites because it was brilliant. But am I wrong to put a series book on my favourites? I don't know. But it literally ties up Amari's story, and oh my god, it was incredible. It's exciting. And if obviously you know your history, you know what happened when the Mount Vesuvius erupted. You know that there was devastation. So I had the whole of the book, like knowing that that there was gonna be some sort of ties in, thinking, is Amari gonna die? You don't know. I'm not gonna tell you what happens. And that bit of excitement, and you see how she's grown over the books and her changes, and oh my god, this was exciting, thrilling, and I was like on the edge of my seat throughout the whole time reading it. I just loved it so much. Now to one that is a favourite of the year, and I don't even know how high up a favourite of the year it's going to be. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. It's a contemporary. It's got some twists. It's a lot about grief. So Charlie told me not to read this during the day, which she was bang on right. You don't read this during the day. And after the year we've had losing someone we love, I found that hard. It was obviously a different kind of love. Friendship love is different to partner love. But like that, you put a fraction of that on grief. And this is what it talks about. And it talks about families, and it is very, very hard hitting. Like Akwaeke Amazing is amazing. They are an amazing, amazing author. But God, it's another one. Mum couldn't read this. It's blooming saucy. There's a lot of saucy stuff in this. And Fei Yi is about to escape the city's blistering heat to go on a dream island holiday, poolside cocktails. But when the sun goes down on her old life, our old heroine might just be ready to open her heart to someone new. And you don't know who that's going to be, and you don't know what's going to happen. And she's got a lot of grief, and you do talk about that in a lot of very raw way. And you talk about friendships and families and dynamics, and it blew me away. It absolutely blew me away, this book. It was incredible. I really cried on this, and I really did. There were some moments which was funny, so I did laugh at some of them, but it was a very, very emotional book, but very well done, and it's a top book. Then to Lights Up by Lizette Orton, which I think Mum will like. God, she really is going to kill me with this stack. And this is more of a historical fiction with a bit of fantasy. I count it as fantasy, even though Storygraph say it's historical fiction, because there are bits about spiders. That's the key. If you're scared of spiders, be very careful reading this, because this was scarier than I expected. Charlie from Charlie Book Reads, my darling, gorgeous sister, laughed because there were bits of this that I'm 45 and I got scared. I got scared at bits of this. So when some of them I was like, I'm just going to put it down. I'm just going to read a bit more tomorrow because I was a bit spooked out by the spiders. And there is a very dark twist. It has great disability rep in it. Very good disability rep. And it was just really, really well done. You've got three children separated by time, come together in a magical adventure. And there is a lot of magic, a lot of darkness. And again, this one is very much talks about grief in a very, very raw way. And about Hetty, who's devastated because her art centre, her favourite place, is gone, just as her granddad, her favourite person. And then you've got years before that, you've got Jack, who is lonely too, but his life changes when he's taken in by a theatre troupe and he learns their secrets. But then many years before that, Ariane has lost everything she loves. She wants revenge against the rich theatre goers who wronged her. Like I said, bit spooky, bit scary, very different from the Lighthouse book that I read for the Spoonies Readathon, but great disability rep, and it was incredible. I absolutely loved it, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think Mum will like it. And then the last book, which was the last one I finished last night, and I was going to have an early night because I had to get up early today, but hey ho, I wanted some mere time first, and I wanted to finish this book, and that is Why Mummy Drinks at Christmas. I am going to get the Why Mummy Goes on Holiday at Christmas, and I probably will get that in paperback. I've got a mixture of her books in hard and paperbacks. But I got this gorgeous edition from Vaz Books because it was like a collector's edition. So there you go. You can see my special collector's signed edition. This was just what I needed. When I say this is pretty much, I think it's going to be one of my favourites because it was just what I needed. And I think it taught me some things that I really needed. Obviously, as a mum, I'm a later mum. I had my kids when I was in my 30s. And I still judge myself on my motherhood and how am I giving the kids the best Christmas? Am I doing the best for them? I'm doing this and that. And you literally, as a mum, you never think you are enough. And our lead character in this, she thinks she's like quite on it. She wants to give them everything, and she thinks she wants to do everything for her kids. And at the start, one of them says, you know, you're controlling. You've got to be in control all the time. And then you look back, and this does revisit a lot of her previous Christmases, which I don't think are in any of her older books. But they sort of link into some of the bits of them. And you link into her past and what made her want to give the kids the best Christmas. And I'm not saying, I was lucky my parents were together. We didn't necessarily have loads of pennies. But I had the same drive to always give my kids the best Christmas. Like I'm baking biscuits for Thomas today. I'm wrapping up presents. Am I giving them enough presents? Am I giving them this? Am I doing the experiences? Like we're doing Elf on the Shelf. And then towards the end of the book, something happens and her kids basically say, Mum, you did your best. Like, you were always trying to give us the best. And I think I needed that. I needed to remember that whatever memories they're getting, as long as I'm trying my hardest and we're seeing smiles on their faces, I just need to stop beating myself up. And there was lots of laughter in this book and a few tears, but yeah, it's actually making me want to cry actually, just thinking about it, because it really did affect me and how I'm feeling at the moment. So, those are the books. Now I'm going to give you a little bit on the books I'm going to be adding. I don't want to go, this is already going to be another half-an-hour video. I'm sorry, guys. First one is a book that I bought in a car boot sale. The 12 Dates of Christmas by Lisa Dickinson. I think I've read one or two of her books. I can't remember. So this was one that's been on the shelves a little bit, not long. At 30, Claudia's life is stale and the romance with her boyfriend Seth has just disappeared. Determined to inject some festive spark back into their lives, Claudia and Seth go on their first date for a long time. When the night ends in disaster, Claudia finds herself facing life and Christmas alone. I think she goes on 12 dates, it looks like. I don't know too much, and the lighting on this is very hard, so see, Christmas romance, looks like fun. Then a book I bought this year, and I thought, sod it, I've only bought it recently, but I actually want to read it straight away, so why not? Jo Thomas is a favourite author of mine, and this is A Recipe for Christmas, and it's set like one woman looking for the perfect Christmas. All Clara has ever wanted is Christmas surrounded by loved ones, full of warmth and delicious food. So when her new boyfriend asks her to move to Switzerland, she can't help but say yes. And then, what could be more perfect? And then she quickly signs up for a tempting chocolate making class, and it turns out to be a chocolate making boot camp, and her boyfriend isn't all he seems either. This looks really good. Can't wait for that. Then the book that I was definitely raving about, and that is the third one in the Kathy Brownlee series. This is A Merry Little Christmas. I can't even wait to read the back. I don't see this being like... I've said I'm saving the Heidi Swain book for Christmas Day, but I think when I need this, I'm going to be reading it. So this will be read very quickly. Mary is about to take on her biggest project yet, right? The arrival of a new baby. She's always dreamed of being a mother, particularly as she lost her own mother at such a young age. Everyone is excited, but why is Mary feeling terrified? And why is she struggling to open up to her business partner and best friend Nell, whose help she needs more than ever? And Nell desperately wants for Christmas is a baby with her husband Oleg. But when she uncovers a shocking truth about Oleg's past, dreams of the family are being turned upside down, and Nell feels so alone, and her best friend Mary is wrapped up in her plans for the baby. Tensions are high, and Mary and Nell's friendship is at breaking point. Oh my god, I can't wait to read this, but this could make me cry. So, yeah. So those are the three contemporaries. I think, sorry guys, if I get a chance, I may add this one in. And that's The Christmas Cottage by Sarah Morgan, which is her latest book. I'm not going to say too much about it, but this may get edited in if I get a chance. But again, if I get a chance, I'm not beating myself up. I don't want to put any more pressure on myself to read too much, because it is going to be busy. And then when I spoke to Kat did help me. She helped me realise that I needed to be a bit gentle on myself. So she's helped me pick, like, two books. I'm not reading as much historical fiction because at the moment I can't. I need to be reading what I fancy. So she was like, why don't you read this one, which is Rue Malaysia Ever After. And that's the sequel to Rue Malaysia, which I loved. And her fairy tale was only the beginning. And it's leading on from that. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fiercest of them all? Ever since she escaped her tower, Rue Malaysia has been searching the land for far and wide, determined to find her long-lost parents. But after she receives a mysterious invitation from Sayara White, Queen of Bishnara, she is soon pulled into darker magical adventures, and ones that threaten her own happily ever after. Bloody hell. Ah! I've got a signed copy. There. So I can't wait to read that. But it is what I fancy. Fantasy, fairy tale retellings. It's great. Then to one that Danny from Danny's Book World got me as a belated birthday present, and this is Eastern Angels Together Again. I am rereading one of the books in the series, but this is a short, sweet book, and it's set 3 years after the Eastern Angels, end, when the war ended, 3 years after, and they're all set of a reunion. So it's about Winnie, Frankie, and Bella, and their former boss Violet Steele. I don't want to go into too much details because it is like a continuation of all that, but it's a short book. It's ending that. It's forged in it's set after the World War, so I'm hoping it won't be too hard. But I did really love the series, and it's a nice, short but sweet book. And I think it would just be nice to sort of finish off the series nicely in the end. into a book that Charlie's thrown on me because she literally bought me this. So you haven't even seen it on my book haul yet. And this is Gifts by Laura Bartlett. She's reading it for Lauren's Christmas like buddy book club doodah thingy. And she bought me this to read with me. And we're going to start it on this week. A couple of days after this video goes live. I don't know diddly about it. I haven't even had a chance to look at it because I've been so busy. 12 people, 12 gifts, 1 Christmas to remember. It's got, at the moment, on this at least, it's got about Maddie, Peter, Chloe, Irene and Alina. And Maddie, the first one, runs a bookshop on the Market Square. She's struggling to choose a gift for her old friend Peter, who's just moved back from London following a messy divorce. And you've got all the other ones. I'm not going to into too much detail. Charlie got me this. I'm really looking forward to it. And then a book that is my library book, and I decided that again I want to save this for potentially either the 30th or the 31st. I can't remember when I'm filming my wrap up. I think I'm filming my wrap up on New Year's Day, which could be fun because you might get hungover, Emily. But I'm going to read it on the 30th. I think I'm going to start it on the 30th, and this is James by Percival Everett. And raved about it and absolutely flipping loved it. And I think a few other of my booktube group loved it. It's a retelling of Huckleberry Finn. Everyone raved about it. It was like people thought it should have won some awards rather than bloody Snorbatle. It isn't too long. It's like just over 300 pages. So even though it's a hardback, it's not very long. And I decided I don't want to end the year on a book that everyone else has raved about. So that's what it's going to be. I've got The Women in this one, and they're my 2 books that could, you never know, this one might be, even though it's a library book, might go on a favourite. You never know. But that's how I decided to end the year. So I'm sorry about how long this video is. It's been very chatty, very busy, and I'm going to go and have a coffee. But what books have you been reading? Let me know down below. Which books are these books? Are there any of the books that I've talked about already that you want to read, that I've encouraged you to read? And what do you think about the books I'm adding to my TV? I'd love to know. If you got to the end of this video, leave any of the Christmas emojis. I don't mind. Be gentle on yourselves. Leave a Christmas emoji. You don't have to chat. I love chatting to you in the comments, but don't feel like you're under any pressure. Everyone's busy at the moment. I hope you're all having a great reading month. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, subscribe, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.